Hello and welcome to part 2 of the big debate, where we conclude the question that was asked. And I asked, would you pay more for an Airfix kit that included masks and photo etch, maybe seat belts in this example, or would you prefer not to? And I gave this kit as an example, which is about £15 more expensive than the Bulldog for a similar aircraft, same scale, same period, which does come with photo etch and mask sets and other things as well. So that was the basic premise of the question, and it was really interesting to see what the results were, because I've always been given the impression officially that only a small percentage of modelers actually look for things like paint masks and stuff like that, and are more than happy to just build the plastic model. But that resoundingly was not the result that we got in the big debate. So there was a variety, a huge variety of views, and I'm going to break them down a little bit. So, but when you add them all together, the weight of the yeses in various different formats far overshadowed the no's. So there was a good proportion of people that said, no, I think Airfix are getting it right. And that was based on the fact, well, based on two things. Some people simply didn't want them and therefore weren't prepared to pay the extra cost, even if it was maybe £1. They wouldn't pay that. Not sure how you'd actually know if they'd added £1 on at that sort of level. So there was a small number of people, which when you take the basic question at a yes-no value, it's almost 50-50. But when you look at the variety of other answers, then the weights go against it. So there was some people that basically said, no, I wouldn't use them. Why should I pay more for something that I don't want? Which is a great point. But there were some people that said no in that mix. No, because I prefer to go and buy my own aftermarket and shop around. So even though they've said no, they are saying that they buy aftermarket. We'll come back to that at the end. So there was a good proportion of people that said a straight yes, and it was slightly more than the number of people that said outright no. So 50-50 at this point. However, there were a variety of other comments, and we can't ignore those either. So I sort of counted those as yeses. So if someone's not saying no, even if they've said yes but, then it's still a yes. So let's talk about that. So there was two basic camps that were a variation of yes. The first one was yes, but only paint masks. And the second one was yes, but Airfix should do it as a different kit. So we'll come back to that in a sec. So there was a good number of people that were definitely interested in paint masks. And by paint masks, I really mean things for the cockpit. So any glazing on a model aircraft could be masked off, and then that comes with the set so that you don't have to source another one. There was a couple of, there was some commentary around how that could be done. Some saying that they would like the sort of the die cut paper masks. They say that the manufacturer doing it would mean that they would be done with more precision and therefore would be more likely to fit better. And so they would trust a paint mask that was in the kit more than an aftermarket one, which I thought was an interesting comment. There was one or two people who thought that maybe it could just be printed in the instructions and you can cut around it. And I have seen instructions, I think it's Tamiya that I've seen do that in the past. And you never know whether you should cut in the middle of the line, outside the line, inside the line, I'm never quite sure. Yeah, I mean, it could be done at no real cost impact by printing a template in your instructions so you can put some tape over the top and draw around it and cut it out. A good point. And then, not surprisingly, however, nobody suggested do it like Tamiya do it and include masks that are printed and you've got to cut out yourself, because we all know they don't fit very well and they're rubbish. So yeah, so if you add those onto the yeses, then you've got more people saying yes than no. But then there's this second group of people that are saying they would be interested, and I think it's almost saying we understand why Airfix do what they do, but I personally would like to buy one with the bits in. So this is why I'm including them as a yes. And they were referring very much to what some manufacturers do, the most commonly, widely known manufacturer would be Edward, where they do one set which is the basic plastic parts only and a set of decals, and then they do another set which costs more but has the masks in, photo etch and maybe some resin and all these other bits. So you have to put those in the yeses as well. So when you add all them together, the no's get a resounding drumming. Most people are either sourcing them themselves because they haven't got them in the Airfix kit, would really like them in the Airfix kit in some format, and so the overwhelming response is yes, Airfix should put them in, and most people are prepared to pay more to get them. Now, Airfix do put photo etch in some of their kits, which some people mentioned, and we've certainly done first impressions on the channel. They tend to be the kits manufactured by Academy, although a caveat to what I just said is that some of their own designed military kits also have photo etch. Tends to be aircraft where they're not putting photo etch in, which is the bread and butter of Airfix, to be fair. Now, there was only one person that made a comment, which was where I am on this subject, and they said, yeah, but rather than doing a separate kit, because if they did two versions of this, two different versions of box art, that means that they're increasing the cost. Yeah, so Airfix want to be able to chuck as many of those boxes out as they can to keep the price as low as possible. The more they buy, the cheaper it is per unit. Yeah. If they've got two different box arts, they're already making it more expensive for everyone. So even the person that doesn't want the aftermarket stuff would be paying more because they've made less of those boxes. So when Edward do that, the price goes up for everybody, not just the people that are buying the Profi Pack kit. So Airfix would be in that position, but there is another way. There is a third way, a middle road, however you want to do it. And Airfix have dipped their toe in this already. And they've done it with this, their brand new tooled lifeboat kit, where they have released separately decals. And I think that's possibly the way forward for Airfix. Not separate kits, not putting them in the kits for people to pay for them that don't want them, but actually to do them separately and say, right, okay, you can buy at your own cost separately if you want a masking set, an extra decal set, a photo etch set of etch seats, or maybe an upgrade pack that includes all of those and an additional paint scheme and some decals. I think there is legs in doing that. Now, the impact on the standard kit they sell is zero, because they're not having to repackage, do different packaging. They're not having to put the cost up for the people that don't want to buy them, but they're making them available separately for people who do want them, and they're getting some revenue that would ordinarily go to the aftermarket people. And so Airfix could actually get a larger share of the sales around their kits, which I think would be a good thing for Airfix, a good thing for their revenue, a good thing for future new tools, a good thing for the health of their company, and a good thing ultimately for us modelers that would want to do that. Because I tell you now, if Airfix had released that and they'd done a photo etch set for it, to give you some seat harnesses and a little sight that replaces the chunky plastic one in there, I'd have bought it. Even if it had cost me £3 and £3 postage, I'd have bought it. And that's for me to do, but Airfix would have got that revenue rather than me going to Edward to get it. And in fairness, when I buy Edward photo etch, I often get etch in there that I don't want to use. So I've paid, again, as many of you have said, for something I don't actually want to use. So for me, I think Airfix should really pull the stops out on doing their own aftermarket upgrade sets for their own kits. And I think they could do it without charging more for those that don't want to. Now, I know what people are going to say. Well, if you're going to, that's more expensive for me as a modeler to buy them separately. Maybe, but if you're ordering them at the same time, maybe not, because it's all within one postage. And Airfix, if you buy direct from them, the postage is often free. So I think it could be done to minimize the cost to the modeler, but give them that option. And like I say, they've dipped their toe in it with the lifeboat. And I think, I hope that's the start of massive, great things from Airfix in terms of giving their consumer what they want, but at the same time balancing it and balancing the manufacturing costs for them, because it's really important that what Airfix do is tread carefully and maintain being profitable, because we want Airfix to be here in 5 years' time and in 10 years' time as strong or stronger than they are now. So, Airfix, if you're listening, most people at least want paint masks, and you need to think about how you can get paint masks to your consumer. And you really want to think about what your consumer is looking for, why they are buying aftermarket, and how you could get a percentage of that. Now, this is just my view, but when we look at all the comments in the last video, it is very clear that most people are buying aftermarket paint masks at the very least, but also photo etch and other detail items for your models, and that's a huge market that potentially you could be tapping into. So thank you for everyone that got involved in the big debate. In the future, we will do it live, which will be harder for me to make a conclusion, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for all the comments, and it pretty much went the way I expected it would go, which is not what I'd been told previously about why people or how many people buy into aftermarket. Now, you could put up all sorts of arguments that only very serious modelers watch YouTube channels of modelers. Listen, this is my hobby. I'm not a professional model builder. It's my hobby. I'm a consumer of kits like you are. I don't get given these kits by Airfix for me to big up Airfix. I buy them out of my own money, out of the revenue that you give me through into the channel. I buy these kits, so I'm entitled to say what I want because I'm a consumer. And as a consumer, I would like paint masks, and I'd like to see some basic photo etch where needed, and I'd like that I'd like to be able to buy that from Airfix so I can support a manufacturer that I love. In the meantime, I will buy aftermarket when I want to, and buy some kits which I think have it all in and are going to be fun to build, even if I don't use everything that's in there. As always, not an easy question to tackle. There's always multiple views, and that's the difficult thing for Airfix to navigate through. But I think with the big debate, we've cut through all of that and we've got the basic answer. The basic answer is yes, most of us are already paying more for etch and for masks now, so why aren't Airfix getting in on that action? Thanks very much for taking part. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free, and that way you won't miss my first impressions, my tool reviews, my product reviews, and any of my builds, including wooden model kits as well as plastic. It's all free, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my PayPal link in the text below. Every pound goes straight into the channel to keep the cameras rolling and to do more fun stuff for you to watch.